where it was just like the expectation, and then I'm not afraid to say it, I got straight up ditched at my junior.
Oh my god.
So that idea of that like expectation versus reality. Welcome to the 27, where we invite 27 members of the Townsend Harris community to share their favorite movie. Joining us today to discuss the highs and lows of relationships is Emmie, to break down 500 Days of Summer. Why did you choose this movie? Just kind of generally speaking.
I just watched it recently, and I don't know, I just thought since I was fresh in my mind, and it had some good topics and things that we could pull out of from it could be discussed.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel, they're just perfectly cast for that.
Yeah.
I just think they're both so good. She's adorable. She plays the role really well. I love both of their styles. Like, if I could pick a style, like the way Joseph Gordon-Levitt dresses in this, I think is like kind of sharp. I don't know, what do you think about their performances or them as being cast in these roles?
I think their casting was actually really good. They seem to like be parallels of each other, not necessarily parallels, but they complemented each other really well, especially like looks wise, and then the way they were written. I think that it just goes really well. Also, I watched New Girl, so I always have this like goofy, silly persona connected to Zooey Deschanel, so seeing Tom being like this hopeless romantic, and he's kind of sullen to himself, and then Zooey Deschanel comes out like a warm summer day, like all sunny and silly. I guess that complemented him really well.
But what I really liked was just it was very creative, kind of original movie. Kind of like the way it was presented, the different kind of, there were some black and white parts. We'll talk about that kind of expectation and reality scene. Like the use of music, I think, is fantastic as well.
And color throughout the story. I saw this pointed out like on social media, but every time there was like scenes where Summer and Tom, whenever Summer and Tom seemed like perfect little like lovers, like a pair of lovers, there was strokes of red. So throughout the movie, they refused to like let the characters wear red, because red's a color and symbolizes love.
Yeah. So
at times, like when they were standing outside of the vinyl shop, you could see a red truck pass by. Or when he was showing off the vinyl had like a red tie.
And it was like Ringo Starr, which is also a good connection. But then, like, I feel like that vinyl scene was one of their like, kind of on the downward trend there.
And then after that, it just all goes downhill.
It's just not there. I think it was interesting the way their emotions, and this is like, you can see these characters reflecting society or just people in general. His emotions are shaped by like pop culture. Like everything he's learned about love is like music, movies, and hers are shaped by her parents, right? It's almost like with the seeing, I guess, the messiness of their divorce, then kind of breaks them into like these two different worlds of how they view love and how they view relationships. Where do you kind of fall on that? Like they're very different. They come from very different places.
I definitely think it's what you were exposed to at a younger age. Like Summer, she had gone through her parents' divorce. She wasn't shielded from it probably at all. And so she just saw the messiness of the main cause of divorce, like marriage. So I guess she just wanted to hold herself back from ever having to go through that. And then again, Tom, he probably grew up watching these he watched these movies and pop shows and songs, just all depicting love, and he just ended up falling into like this hopeless romantic persona.
Yeah, and hers is like the more real experience. He's living this like ideal world where like so much of how love is portrayed in entertainment is, that kind of ideal.
Yeah, and I also think that could have created some type of not a facade, just like this weird mentality for Tom, because obviously it's not going to be like that in real life. So he's just striving for this perfect lovey-dovey relationship, and I guess that's going to make him like a green flag for girls. But in the end, it's probably like, I don't know how to explain it, just not the best, because he has such high expectations, and then he falls in love with a girl who has wants nothing to do with these expectations.
And he crashes so hard. Like, he's
So
too much. Sometimes just, like, that scene when he's on the date with the other girl and he's just, like, talking about her is so uncomfortable. Like, it's just, like, talking about this relationship while on a blind date with someone else. It's too much. And then at the end, like, is he just getting right back into it when he meets Autumn at the end? Like, if this movie were to continue, if there were to be a sequel, we might think there would be a happy ending, because I feel like that's a lot of the feelings that I have towards Summer, which we'll talk about, initially come from like wanting Tom to be happy. He seems like a good guy, wanting him to kind of get what he wants. When he doesn't, it seems like then when he meets Autumn, it's like, oh, her name's Autumn, her other name, the other one was Summer, and like, but I feel like there was a part two, like, wouldn't it just couldn't it easily end up the same way?
I think it wasn't left off on a cliffhanger, because if you were like watching throughout the story, it was showing you the count of days, right?
Yes.
And along with that, there was a tree.
Yes.
And if the scene following that was depicting something like a good moment or memory with Summer, the tree's leaves would be green.
Yes.
Yeah. So then over time, the trees, like, leaves start yellowing, and then it starts dying as the relationship starts dying out and, you know, catapulting to the ground. You could see at the end of the movie when he meets Autumn, the tree comes back to life.
Yeah.
And so I guess that can leave us with our own interpretation that, oh, he probably fell in love, got married, and had a happy ending with her.
I feel like he could end up being like a prisoner of his own expectations, though. Like,
Yeah.
he has such this ideal that, well, you reference, like, it could be a green flag. For Summer, it's a red flag. And who's to say for everyone else? Like, that type of, like, they even do it, there's a scene where they show his friend and someone else, forget, and they do, like, these kind of interviews with them about their own relationships.
yeah.
Like, oh, it was his boss and it was his friend. And I think it shows, like, that's what he wants, but that's not what everyone gets. Like, it's not like a one-size-fits-all. The relationship that you have with someone is not the relationship that someone else has with them or anything like that. I don't know.
It's true.
I feel for Tom. I don't know if he'll... Can he ever really find happiness when he has such high ideals? Will anyone ever actually meet his ideal of a relationship?
I think that, yeah, if you have high expectations, I think that there's probably going to be someone in store for everyone.
Yeah.
Obviously not such expectations like, oh, I'm getting $1 million a month. No, but like, if his expectations were probably just, I want a loving girlfriend, something that lasts, which is completely okay. But when I think it was almost kind of stupid for him to fall so deeply in love. Yes, I understand that she let these like actions go out, like dates and so on, but she did say in the beginning that she didn't want anything.
She's very clear from the beginning with that.
She was very clear from the beginning. So although he did fall in love with her, and that could be a really like painful thing, especially when she left him so abruptly, I think he should have had that in the back of his mind. Like, he should have braced himself.
Yeah, there's definitely parts of this I relate to. The one scene in particular, and I think it was so heartbreaking for me because I think it was the most real, was that expectations versus reality scene. First of all, that is like brilliantly created and shot. It's just so good, and it's so real in terms of like relationships that you have with someone, and like there's always that expectation. I don't even know you. I barely met you, but I will tell you this. You asked Angeline about prom. So something like that absolutely happened to me in my junior prom, where it was just like the expectation, and then I'm not afraid to say it, I got straight up ditched at my junior prom.
Oh my god.
So that idea of that like expectation versus reality, it's so hard. And like tempering expectations for anything, right? For your college admissions decision, for your relationships with people, for like any of these things, like you always have to watch those expectations because like you want to believe in the absolute best. I'm going to date this person, I'm going to get into this school, I'm going to get this grade on a test. But then that's what ends up kind of being the hard part. That could be kind of like the downfall if you have expectations that are too real. Just that idea of like you're not remembering any of the bad things. You only remember all the good things. But like her with that wedding ring on, I was so annoyed by that. What'd you think?
Honestly, at first glance, I was really annoyed too, but then after I got to sit in my own thoughts after the movie and like dissect it, Like I said before, I think that everyone has someone in store for them. Like, it shows it in the movie. Like, she falls in love with this guy, gets married to him, and then Tom falls in love with Autumn, probably gets married to her. I think that, I guess she just wasn't ready within herself, but she just, I guess, didn't want to miss out on the fun of it. So, I guess she sheltered herself too much and didn't let Tom's love in. So then when she just got out of it, she realized that, oh, I guess now it's okay for me too.
Yeah.
And then she met the guy that she inevitably fell in love with.
Well, and like, I hated it. I was so annoyed by it. But then, much like you, after kind of reflecting on it, one, she kind of, and she references that, like, she kind of proves Tom right with love, that, like, it's this thing that is real and does happen to you. And then, but she drops this line on him. I woke up and I knew what I was never sure of with you, I was now sure of with this other person. That, like, she did love him. So, like, at the end of the day, I didn't love at the beginning, no pun intended, that she was, like, anti-love and anti-relation. But then when the right person came, she was. And it's just like, I guess I just wanted Tom to be the right person for Tom, because he seems like a good guy. But he wasn't. The other person was.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So even when you get annoyed, like, oh, they should have ended up together, if you think about it in the long run, they wouldn't have ended up together because she was never sure if she loved him or not. And it just would have proved her, like, original mentality of love is fake and marriages are the worst.
Yeah.
So that would have just ended up in an unhappy marriage. And Tom wouldn't be happy either, knowing that at one point probably it would just end, because he could tell at a certain extent that Summer wasn't happy.
Yeah. I will say her unforgivable sin, though, the one that I won't forgive her on, is what she did at the wedding. Like, that she dances with him all night, that she, like, they had split up. He also, when they get on the train, he sees her, makes sure he sits back to her. It appears that he's not going to interact with her. He does peek back, but then she kind of makes the approach, and then, like, what are you doing to the guy?
Exactly.
Like, you broke up and now, like, you're dancing with him all night. You're having a drink. You're, like, holding it. Even, by the way, at the end when she kind of, like, grabbed his hand on the bench, it's like, just stop it already.
So
like,
much.
I think that's what I don't like. She's selfish to a degree where, like, his feelings were just, like, disposable to her. Like, how he felt didn't matter. But that whole wedding scene, to bring someone back in, and then, like, why would she invite him to this party? Why have him there?
I don't know. I think that was very selfish of her. I think that, okay, you broke up with him one time, you'll get out of it, okay, he'll get over it. That you could get over. But the fact that she tried reeling him back in and then being like, oh, what do you mean? It was just dancing and a drink.
Right.
She probably just wanted the option. She wanted to have that, not comfort necessarily, she just wanted to know that if she wanted Tom back or right back on her feet, she could. That was truly evil, but...
Yeah, that I can't forgive. But I did come around. Like I said, when I saw the ring, when I was like, oh my God, she actually got married, very negative feelings towards Summer. But upon reflection, like, Tom wasn't the one. But she did find the one, which she didn't think she would ever find at the beginning. So love is real. I think that's a good thing to take out of this, but Summer's got to be a little bit better at taking other people's feelings into account.
Yeah, on a more outside perspective. While watching this movie, I was thinking about how in my generation we have this thing called situationships, where it's necessarily where you're just talking to someone with all the benefits of dating, just without the title. I think it's so stupid. It's ruining the perception everyone has on love. Like, oh, we don't have, like, people are so afraid to make a commitment, which I guess, like, when you're young, I don't know, but...
Well, I think the problem is you've defined something that's always existed.
Yeah.
That's what you describe, like a situationship, is the steps towards a relationship. When you begin to meet someone, kind of feel each other out a little bit. How do I feel about this person? Learn more about them. And that develops into a relationship. To then give it a title, then cements it at that. Then it just makes it that type of thing, which limits it growing into something else.
I've seen on social media people making jokes, but they're probably very real and relatable for some people, how they have had a situationship for like 8 months or a year, and I think it's just ruining the, like, idea of dating or
Yeah.
falling in love with someone, because now it's just, oh, you have a situationship, okay, then I could go talk to this other girl and you
Yeah.
can't be mad about it.
I think there's that idea of like, it's okay to take that leap.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's also being young. Like, that goes for everything in life, from like
Yeah.
the relationships you have with friends to boyfriends or girlfriends or anything like that.
I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings on it.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
It was very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I
you.
appreciate you coming on. Thank you to Daniel for doing our producing work today. You can find us on Instagram at the 27THHS. And we'll see everyone next week on the 27. Take care.